Hello everyone, Mike McWilliams upstairs to the right music here. Today I want to report on an interesting issue that came up regarding the Gibson Murphy Lab. And this is a production issue that came up with some of their guitars in the Gibson Murphy Lab range that was mentioned on the Mylespaul forum recently that I found to be very interesting. So I thought maybe we would do a quick report on that here today. Now, I'd like to start out this report by stating that Gibson is already on this issue and has posted a fix to the problem. So this is almost old news, but I thought it was interesting and worth reporting on nevertheless. So what is this issue, you ask? Well, it has to do with the finish on these guitars. When creating these new finishes for these Murphy Lab guitars, they were using a proprietary lacquer formula that was basically reverse engineered from the original 50 and 60s lacquer formula. And it was engineered so that it could be created in its original brittleness. And so this brittleness is one of the reasons that they're able to get such an interesting aging effect on their guitars for the Murphy Labs. Unfortunately, in the case of their first run, it proved to be a little bit too brittle in some special cases with some of the models, not all of them, and here's why. So apparently when they, let's see if we can find, yeah, so we'll talk about back here. So we'll talk about the, oh, this is a beauty. So the 1959 Les Paul Standard Factory Burst Ultra Aged. Wow, that's a beautiful guitar. Let's take a look at the back of this guitar. Here we got a good image here. The dark cherry pour filler that was used on this guitar, the 59 Ultra Light, and the nitro finish are not compatible with each other. And so it was an issue with a specific batch of aniline dye pour filler used. Instead of hardening, it stayed more of a dry powder substance, powdery substance that floated on top of the wood, and this prevented the lacquer from adhering. So I've brought up some examples of that. So here is the dark cherry pour filler, the lacquer that was used. And you can see here where on this particular example that the entire paint job basically started separating from the wood. And again, this is because, as Gibson has stated, that the dark cherry pour filler and the nitro finish were not comparable with each other. So it just wouldn't adhere to the wood. It wouldn't allow the lacquer to adhere properly to the wood. And so what will happen over time is moisture and changes in temperature in the room will get underneath this paint job, and what will happen, this lacquer job, and the entire thing will, this entire finish will peel off eventually. A lot of the entire, as a matter of fact, over time, the entire finish would peel off. So this mistake with the pour filler mix, it caused the nitro to not adhere properly to the wood. So all the finish on the back and sides of these guitars, and I have another example here as well. Here you can see where it started to occur here. So yeah, so a little bit of an issue there. So all the finish on the back and sides of the guitars finished in this dark cherry pour filler will peel off. It will peel off. It eventually come off. Now, this issue has been corrected in the new guitars going forward. But if you own one of these affected guitars, only a complete refinish is really going to help you in this situation. Uh, you, because again, once the air and the moisture get underneath that finish, then the problem's just going to accelerate. And fortunately, that's exactly the fix that Gibson offered. They will refinish the affected guitars, and apparently it's just the ones that were in that first run or so that were using the dark cherry pour on the backs. So if we look at their line, we can see that it's like if you have a gold top uh, in this line, yeah, you don't have that issue at all. So again, it seems to be mostly with the ultra light aged. Um, yeah, this ultra light age. So yeah, all of these that have that dark cherry pour on the back, that dark um, cherry pour filler that they use. So not a big deal. Not all of the guitars in this Gibson Murphy Lab series were affected. It's just these ultralight ones with the dark cherry backing. And Gibson has offered to refinish the effective guitars, a relatively small pool of guitars at the end of the day. But if you do own one of these instruments, you may want to check with your dealer if your guitar falls under this issue and is eligible for the refinish. So one final note I'll make on this issue before we let it go today is that in the same Mylespaul forum, we came up with a report of a gentleman who did have this issue with his guitar. He returned it to a guitar dealer, uh, uh, noting that that was the issue, and they received the return on it, noting that that was an issue. And this dealer promptly put it right back up on sale full price. So if you are in the market for one of these Murphy Lab guitars and you're buying it on Reverb or you're buying from a shop, be aware of this issue. There is a difference between something that has been relicked and something that has a defect. There's a big difference. So make sure that you check it out with your dealer beforehand, before you make that purchase. Again, this is really the ultralight age that seems to be affected with this, and they have corrected the problem. So with that said, you guys have yourselves a great day. Remember, I live on subscriptions. I live and die on subscriptions. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please take the time to hit that subscription button. If you like today's content, hit that like button, and we'll talk to you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.